Hi everyone, it's Mrs. Powell. I have another Curious George book for you today. Today we're going to read Curious George Makes Pancakes. Yummy, I love pancakes. And this is also by Margaret and H.A. And you can see a picture of Curious George and his pancakes right there. This is George. George was a good little monkey and always very curious. One morning the man with the yellow hat woke George early. "Time to get up, George," he said. "The pancake breakfast is today." George loved the pancake breakfast. It was a fundraiser held every year to make money for special programs at the Children's Hospital. Besides eating pancakes, there were all kinds of games to play. Even the mayor came to play and eat, but first he gave a welcome speech. That looks like fun. There's a lot of people in that park now. Right now we can't go to parks with lots of people, but that's a neat park. "Thank you all for coming," the mayor said. "We appreciate your generous support." He thanked all the volunteers who were helping that day. And finally, he said, "Please enjoy yourselves and enjoy the pancakes." When the mayor finished, the man with the yellow hat said, "George, I'm going to buy our tickets. Please wait here and don't be too curious." George tried to wait like a good little monkey, but something smelled good. Could it be the pancakes? George was curious. There's the mayor talking, and there's George. We all know by now what happens when George feels curious. What do you think he's going to do? Yep, George followed the delicious smell, and he found a whole griddle full of pancakes. He watched as the man poured a little batter in circles and flipped them up in the air. It looked fun to make pancakes. George wanted to help. On a table near the griddle was a basket full of blueberries. These pancakes needed blueberries, George thought, and he sprinkled some on top. Any of you ever had blueberry pancakes? I think they're yummy. I like chocolate chip pancakes too. Meanwhile, the man on the griddle was so busy he didn't notice the little monkey helping him. But the line grew and grew. George's pancakes were a hit. Soon everyone wanted them, and the man could not keep out. "Please wait," he said to someone holding up an empty plate. "I need to find an assistant to help me." And just like that, he was gone. Look at all those people waiting for pancakes. George looked at the people waiting in line, and then at the empty griddle. Why, he could make the pancakes. He could be the assistant. George poured the batter into nice round circles. Next, he added the blueberries. He waited just a minute to let the pancakes cook. Then he flipped them over. At last, he added the syrup. Have any of you ever made pancakes? Pancakes are easy to make, and if you have a grown-up helping you, it could be a fun thing to make this week. Look, this one has the blueberries almost like a smiley face. The line for the pancakes was enormous, but with 4 hands, George made quite a chef, and no one's plate was empty for long. "I've been coming to this breakfast for years," a man said, "but I've never seen pancakes made like this before." "I've never eaten this many pancakes before," said a girl. "I didn't even like pancakes before," said another girl, and they all lined up for more. Look at George. When the man returned with his new assistant, he was shocked to see a monkey making pancakes. "This is no place for a monkey," he yelled, and he began to chase George. George hadn't meant to cause trouble. He'd only wanted to help. Now he only wanted to get away. Quickly, George found a place to hide, and the man and his assistant ran right by. But where did George go? Uh-oh, they're chasing George away. They don't know he did such a good job helping. Now George is hiding. Do you see him? See if you can find out where he is. When it was safe to come out, George jumped down. He was covered in syrup like a pancake, and he was sticking to everything. George was curious. Could those napkins help him get clean? What do you think's going to happen when George uses napkins and he's covered in syrup? Yep, that's what happens when you put napkins on something sticky. What does George need? No, the napkins only made it worse. What George needed was some water to wash in. Here was the perfect thing. George climbed in. I think that's another game at the carnival, but George is going to use it like a bathtub or a swimming pool. This would do the trick for a sticky monkey. George sat on the bench and splashed himself with water. But all of a sudden, splash! George was in the water. So look, they were supposed to throw the ball, and if you hit that little target, then the person sitting on the bench would get all wet. That's what happened to George. What a surprise! He climbed up again and splashed back down again. He'd never been in a dunk tank before, and he'd never had so much fun getting clean. Soon everyone was having fun, and the line at the dunk tank grew even longer and longer, even longer than the line for Pancakes. Later, the mayor came by. "I've heard all about your delicious pancakes," he said to George. "You've made our fundraiser a big success, and I have a special favor to ask you." At the end of the day, George got to present the money from the fundraiser to the president of the hospital. "Thanks to you, George, this has been our best year ever," she said. "Will you come back and make pancakes again next year?" George nodded, and everyone cheered. And that is the end of Curious George Makes Pancakes. Have a good day, everybody.